We are your home for exclusive interviews and behind the scenes stories you won't hear anywhere else. This is all about Kentucky tracks, Kentucky drivers, and Kentucky fans. We eat, sleep, and breathe it anyways, so we figured why not make a podcast about it? For 11 years, we've been keeping the bluegrass covered in dirt. Now, we're doing it bigger than ever before. We are Kentucky's Dirt Racing Podcast. Welcome to another edition of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live, presented by Smokehouse Grill and Buffet.
And welcome back into another week, another episode of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. I want to thank you all for joining us on here this evening. Wes, it's been a crazy week a little bit. To be honest with you, I haven't even had much of a chance to speak to you this whole week. I think this might be the first time we've talked. It's just with work and everything, it's been crazy. But glad to be back here on the podcast, man. We've got a whole lot to get to tonight, so we gotta zoom through it. But it's good to be back on here this evening for sure.
Yes, it's good to be on here. It has been a crazy week so far. I know both of us has been really busy, and we've not had a chance to talk, and that's kind of crazy because we talk usually every day, every other day. So it's kind of been odd this week, but nonetheless, another great show we've got on hand for everybody tonight, and really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And this is the Bluegrass Restoration and Construction Studio. This segment's sponsored by Dirtman Diecast. So we want to thank him for his sponsorship, Nick Dillo there with Dirtman Diecast, and the folks with Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. You would be able to call the Racetrack Connection hotline. Hopefully you can later in the show. I'm having some technical difficulties with that, but I'll try to get that up and going here in just a second. Wes, I'm out in my shop tonight. It was the only place I could find quiet around here, so a little bit of a struggle. And by the way, how is my connection? Does everything sound good? Everything look what we got any issues here? Because my internet is a little bit iffy, to say the least.
Sounds good, but you're a little fuzzy. You're kind of blurry.
Well, that's kind of what I was afraid of. So we'll go ahead and just do the best we can and try to get through this first part. I'll try to fix something here in just a second. In fact, Wes, one thing I want to do tonight real quick is I want to recap the weekend. Of course, everything was rained out except we had a practice at Rock Castle, and then Florence Speedway had dollar days up there. And so Blake Brown was able to go up there, also Dustin Linville, and pick up a couple wins for each of those drivers. So that was something that was definitely good to see. And I want to let you talk about that for just a second. I'm gonna go try to fix this internet issue. I'll be right back.
Okay. Technical difficulties, folks. Don't you love them? No, Florence Speedway produced a good night of racing. Blake Brown won in the modified and in the 99 mod, and Dustin Linville won in his number 39 Pro Late model. So congratulations to those two guys. Good to see them get started on a good note and win there at Florence. That's a big boost for both of them to get those victories. I actually took a little trip on up to Brownstown on Saturday and watched James Essex return to the Northern All-Stars. Really good race. Little Bobby Pierce ended up getting the W in the super late model division there, racing for. Started out being 5,000 to win, and then ended up being 6,000. They had another $1,000 added by a sponsor. So really good night of racing. 54 late models qualified, and just a really, really good night. It's good to be back at Brownstown, just across the Kentucky border there into Indiana. So a really good night of racing, and I got to go up with Michael Despain and Jake Despain. So we just had a great night.
Yeah, and I saw that you were able to make that trip and talk to you a little bit about that. So glad you were able to go up there and do that. Our original plans didn't quite work out because of the weather, and that was unfortunate. But and then it was something else. I was trying to fix my internet issue. How about that? Technical difficulties, internet issues here, and if you've been listening to this podcast at all, you've heard me complain about the internet or lack thereof in Madison County. It's just unfortunate that we can't get some high speed internet. But I guess I'm complaining to the wrong people. But like I said, there at Florence, I didn't hear what you said about it, but it was pretty cool because both Blake Brown and Dustin Linville started a little bit back in the field. They weren't on the front row, at least, for their heat races there at Florence because they peel draw for their starting positions. And then by lap one, both of them were in the lead in their heat races, led all the laps in their heat races, and then led all the laps in their features. So really, for two Central Kentucky drivers up there at Florence Speedway, it was really a dominating night for both of them, and that was something that was really cool to see, especially considering that for both of them they also had just made chassis changes, over for Brown over the last week, and then for Linville, over the off season. So a good start for both of them with those changes for sure.
Yeah, and I know I talked about Bobby Pierce winning at Brownstown, but it was good to see James and Josh Rice were there, Trevor Landrum, Kirk Phillips, the Giant Killer, David Webb, let's see, Tanner English. Those were Kentucky drivers, and I talked to those guys that was there on Saturday night. So good to see them and support them. So fun night of racing. I hate that our original plans didn't work out, but those things happen, especially in the spring.
Yeah, they do for sure. And then I know there were several other of our competitors up there at Florence on Saturday night too. I know I saw Ace Claiborne was there. I think he finished 12th in the feature, if I remember correctly. So a good run for him. And then Glenn Hounshell won the B main there. Mm-hmm. Of course, Carson Freeman, he runs there regularly, but he finished second in the Sport Mod feature. And I'm probably leaving some out, but just like I said, overall, it was good to see some racing action this weekend, or at least get to read about it the next day. I didn't get to make it up there, but and then of course at Brownstown it was a good night there as well. Well, one thing, Wes, I want to do, and we've got about 20. It looks like we way down on our viewership here tonight. This is the second week in a row. I'm not real sure what's going on. Last week we blamed it on spring break. This week I don't know if we got anything to blame it on. So I'd definitely like to see that go up just a little bit. So if you don't care, share this out with your friends. Let's try to get some people on here. We're going to talk here in just a little bit. We're going to talk to Sherman with the Racetrack Connection app for just a few minutes, and then just in a little bit we're going to bring on Joe Rush with the American All-Star Pro Late Model Series, and Brandon Hardgrove with Lake Cumberland Speedway. So let's try to get some people on here and watching this show with us, because we got some good stuff coming up here in just a little bit. But one thing I want to try to do is have a hot topic discussion. Seems like there's always something going on, Wes, in our sport of dirt racing locally that affects all of us here locally, tracks, drivers, and there's always seems like something going on that we can discuss. So I want to try to do that each and every week here on the podcast. Tonight, I want to talk about something, and we've got just a few minutes to do this. I want to talk about Brandon Hardgrove made a post earlier is the reason that it came about, that it came to mind for me, but it's just with the tire issue. I joked about it
Yeah.
last week. I believe it was we had someone on here and said we won't talk about that, but I really think it's something that we need to talk about. I think it's something that's a real problem. I mean, honestly, tires have always been a problem. That's not really anything new. We learned that both the Northern All Stars, of course, James Estes has brought it back now, but Northern All Stars and the Battle of Bluegrass Series both really, when it comes down to it, ended because of a tire issue.
Right.
And when you look at the cost right now of tires for these drivers, it's absolutely it's insane. I mean, it really is. I remember when I was racing, we first switched over to racing tires. I paid $115 a tire, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
And these guys are paying hundreds. I'm talking about, this is modified. I have this example. These guys, $170 or $200 a piece, depending on which brand you go with. At some point, it's going to become an issue. I just don't see how it couldn't. That's just a lot, man, and it's got to be hard on these drivers. I mean, it really does.
Yeah. I mean, you look the amount of tires that these guys go through in a night or a couple nights of racing in a couple weekends. It's just crazy, and the price on them just continues to keep going up. And I know it has to be hard on the drivers and the race teams just to be able to afford these tires.
Yeah, it is. It's hard, and I'll be honest, I don't know what the answer is. There's a lot of people out there a lot smarter than I am when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, like, I really wish we could do something. Someone could come together. Something could be done. I think there is an answer. And like I said, I think it would be good to try to find a solution rather than just sitting back and watching, watching this thing happen. So, because it's hard, it's really hard. I know it has to be on these race teams. Like I said, I bought 2 sets one time. They were $115 a piece, and I thought that was big money. I can't imagine what they're spending now. So.
Right.
Well, let's go ahead and go to the Racetrack Connection hotline here. Quickly, we've got the man behind the Racetrack Connection app. Sherman is on here with us. Sherman, thank you for taking a second out of your minute out of your day to come on here and join us and talk to us a little bit about the Racetrack Connection app.
Yeah. Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, buddy. How you?
Doing good. Good.
Doing good, man. Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk to you about. We had a conversation not too long ago on the phone. Really, our conversation was about your vision behind the app, why you started the app, and it pertained to connecting fans and drivers. And I thought that was something that was interesting because that's really what we try to achieve here on the podcast. And I think when it comes down to it, you had the same vision with the Racetrack Connection app as well.
Yep. Yeah, I've been a fan of stock car racing since I was 5. My uncle raced, and I'd go watch him, and I just went to the track every weekend. It was Fairgrounds Motor Speedway in Louisville, and I'd go there every weekend, probably till I was in my 20s when they shut it down. And I also went to Sportsdrome a lot, Salem, pretty much the asphalt tracks around Louisville. And when I was 26, I built my first car, and I raced in the bomber divisions, the lower levels and stuff, and just enjoyed it. I raced for the fun of it. And I decided that I got out of racing after about 23, 24 years. I raced that long. And then I helped a guy run a track. And while we were running the track, we didn't know who was going to be at the races until they showed up. And this was like 2010 when apps first started hitting the smartphones and stuff. And I was working in databases where I worked, and I talked to these programmers, and I was like, man, is there any way, if I had all this information, could we put it together and throw it out there? And they're all, yeah, it'd be easy. And it's not that easy. But,
yeah.
But I built this app, and the app's a tool. it's a tool for the tracks to know exactly every one of their drivers that are coming every night of their total season. They can also get a complete bio. So the announcer has a list of who's going to be there every night and a bio about each driver. And their driver schedules also in the app. And it's got some other functions too. It's got a chat function, and the chat function could be used as a like a virtual program for each event night. So the track can get on there and say, hey, we got hot dogs are hot over in backstretch concession stand. And, you can just talk to the fans, and the fans can talk to the drivers, all specifically in their event, basically.
Yeah.
And the app's also got a map function on it. All the tracks have GPS located. And the goal is in the future is to put weather and directions on that map function. So it's again, I built the app as basically a tool for fans, for tracks, and for drivers, basically to throw themselves out there and say, hey, I'm Sherman and I'm racing at Lake Cumberland every night.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Another feature, Wes, I found useful was the ability to chat, like say during the event, not only promoters to be able to use that, but for anybody that's at the racetrack. So I think that's something that's definitely useful. I do think it's important for drivers to get on the app, right? Because in order for it to really be able to show what it's capable of, drivers need to be on there. And so that's something that we encourage any and all drivers to download that app and get your profile set up, your schedule built, so we can know where you're going to be racing.
Yeah, and there's like 1,600 people on it right now, and that's a whole lot of people. I don't know 1,600 people, but there's 1,600 drivers and fans on it right now. But this thing is nationwide. It's every track. It can be every track at every state. And it's not just dirt tracks, or not just asphalt tracks. It could be drag racing tracks. It could be RC tracks. It can be, I've got Pinewood Derby events in there. I've got Soapbox Derby. And my thinking is that motorsports people they like those kind of events. They could be at a car show, and they can get on the app and say, hey, there's a dirt track right here. And they can go straight over to the dirt track and see who's racing and see what's going on, and basically communicate with people at the track. You can communicate through that chat room. Just go to any track you want to talk to people about, and if people are on that chat, they will, they can tell you what's going on. They can take pictures, and it's a tool.
Yeah.
I hope people get it and realize it. Brian Abner from Lake Cumberland, Ponderosa, texted me the other day, and he's like, "Man, I really like this. I'm gonna get it going." And that's what I need. I need a good example of how it works at a track. And last year, I launched it at the Sports Drome up in Indiana, and I had several people use it. I had a bunch of people use it, but again, drivers don't think about it. They want a carburetor. They don't want a application to promote the race. They want some tires. They want some new tires. But, once we get them on there and get their bios in there, and then their fans, spectators can be watching them out on the track, say, who is that dude? And they can go to the app, open it up, look at their profile, and like I told you before, what turns just a common spectator into a fan is if you know something about the person out there driving, and maybe make some kind of connection. And a spectator will come once a year, but a fan will follow a driver, and hopefully it creates more people coming to the track. That's what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
Goal.
Good deal.
Wes, you have the Racetrack Connection app, right?
I do.
Yeah,
I sure
thought
do.
you did. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've got it too. You need it. So go to your app store and download the Racetrack Connection app if you're a fan. There's a lot of very useful information on there. And drivers, if you're watching or if you listen later on, I know a lot of people listen to the podcast later on in the week on your favorite podcast platform. Go download the driver portion of the app, get your bio set up and your schedule and all that good stuff. Download that app. It's definitely something that's useful in our sport, and as it grows, it's going to become even more useful. So,
Yep. Joe Rush uses in his series, the American All-Star Series.
Yep.
I launched it basically with him last year. Also, he had a podcast, and I sponsored his podcast. I built him some hats, and he would give away hats every weekend to his drivers and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. That's cool. It's cool. You're doing a lot for our sport and sponsoring a lot of people and sponsoring this podcast, of course, and racetracks and working well with everybody, including now a bunch of series around here. So it's always good to see, and we thank you for that, because we'll take all the, as a sport in general, we'll take all the help we can and support we can get for sure. So we appreciate your help and appreciate you coming on here with us for just a few minutes this evening.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's no problem. Well, Wes, let's go ahead and get to a commercial break real quick, pay some bills, and when we come back, we're going to have Joe Rush of American All-Star Series and Lake Cumberland Speedway's Brandon Hardgrove on here with us. So give us just a few minutes. We'll be right back here on the podcast.
Racetrack Connection is a social media app designed specifically for racing. On the app, you can find a track, find a driver, review and print track schedules, and use the chat feature to communicate with other fans and drivers at any event. There's even a map feature where you can locate racetracks all across the U.S., plus many other features, all for free. Download the Racetrack Connection app today. Donnie Kaufman used to say, "It's good enough to make your tongue slap your brains out, honey." That's what we think about the home cooking at Smokehouse Grill and Buffet in Berea. Choose from the delicious options on their home-style buffet and salad bar, or order from the full menu. Not to mention their desserts and some of the best breakfast you'll ever eat. We promise you'll never be disappointed with this racing family-owned business. Visit their friendly staff and grab a bite to eat. Located just off exit 77 in Berea.
Hi there, I'm Alan Feldhouse Jr., head basketball coach at Madison Central High School. Here at MCHS, we have built a winning team. I'd like to tell you about another local winning team, family-owned and operated Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. They specialize in roofing, general construction, and home maintenance services. Just like on the court, you need a team that will work together to get the job done, and that's exactly what BRC does. Give them a call at 859-353-1133. Row Tribe.
And welcome back to the Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live podcast here in the Bluegrass Restoration and Construction Studios. We're now joined on the Racetrack Connection hotline by Joe Rush of the American All-Star Series and Brandon Hardgrove with Lake Cumberland Speedway. Guys, thank you for joining us here on the podcast tonight.
Glad to be here.
Very happy to be here.
Yeah, Brandon, I see back there behind you. You got something that looks like a lot of fun. You're in the race shop tonight.
Yeah, definitely. The best lighting out here. Got a shop light, so just don't get a lot of time to race or even look at it, especially this time of year. But we're really excited about what's upcoming, and it's going to be a big weekend. Looks like.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Huge weekend.
Yeah, 3,000 to win. American All-Star Series Pro Late Models this weekend at Lake Cumberland Speedway. Man, the weather is absolutely perfect. I don't think you could ask for a better weather-wise, a better week, a better weekend coming up, man. I know I've been outside all week as much as I could be. Just glad to see it, and that's a good thing for you all for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, last year we fought the rain all year, so it's good to see a beautiful Saturday ahead of us this week.
Yeah. It is. I'm with you. Sunshine and like 70, 78 or so, I think, is what I'm seeing here the last couple of days on the outlook at least. So that's always a good thing for sure. We'll take that over rain any day.
That's right. Actually, everybody's asked, why don't you try to get open up earlier? For me, I know the series, kind of, they open up kind of late like I do because, a lot of stuff that you do, there's just so much chance of it getting rained out, and it's hard to get racers on the road, and it's hard to get fans in the stands when it's cold. So the good Lord's been with us this week because it looks like from all the promoting that I've seen from the American All-Star Series and all the work that's went on here, it looks to be just a great opener, and we're just really thankful for all what the series does. We opened up with them last year, and it was just a blowout, and we expect this weekend, as all the local racetracks around us has been very supportive for our opener, and we tried the same for the other racetracks. So that's the biggest thing that I'm excited about this year. I really feel like that we're the best place in the sport we've been. Everybody says, are you worried about this track or that track? Well, I'll tell you what, no, I'm not, because competition only makes us stronger. For one, it makes it better for everybody. And here's the deal. When different racetracks open up, more fans get involved in the sport that maybe's never been to a race, and more cars get involved in the sport. And they're the way we're kind of all just kind of take our turns here. Is like we open up this weekend. Next weekend, we go up Ponderosa on Friday night. We've got, of course, another big show with Chris Tilley, 7,500 to win, big money, all classes. And that Saturday night, I'm taking off as, I've got a derby scheduled. We're going to do that deal as Rock Castle has their opener, and then Thunder Mountain and Corbin, they've got their second night of racing. So we appreciate all the racetracks looking out for our openers, and there are going to be times that we're going to have to run against each other. But like I say, I think it's only better for our sport. Thankfully, Lake Cumberland Speedway is strong as it's ever been. And I really feel like with the changes that we've made over the off season, because I definitely wouldn't have spent the money if I didn't want to better what we've got going on here. And I really feel like we have. Our practice date was absolutely amazing. I don't think a person that was here didn't brag on what the racetrack is. We did make some changes, and really in a big way, because we've got the groove of the racetrack very stable for the cars. And my whole goal with that was to make the racing better, of course, number one. Yeah. And for number two, we don't want as many cautions. We want to be able to get the fans out of here. Everybody knows they come to Lake Cumberland Speedway. When we start the show, you're going to see straight, nonstop action to the time you leave. There's no breaks. There's no nothing. I've got a great crew, great people. Abner, of course, Matt Gager's coming back this year to be on our receiver. We're excited about that. One of my good friends, he's coming back. We've actually, Chad Yance stepped out of scoring this year, but we've got some great people going to help us with that, as Jody Coots is going to take over that area, as we're going to use our scoring system that we have. And, we're just really excited about the partnership with the American All-Star Series for our opener.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting to us. I know that for sure. I can't wait for it. And I know you've done a whole lot of work this off season. I agree with you as well. I know Wes, we both agree to this. I mean, I agree with you that our sport certainly is in the best place that it's ever been. I don't think there's any question about that here locally for sure. I mean, just with the way that the racetracks are working together these days. Brandon, you know this. I mean, for years people hollered, I wish racetracks would work together. We need racetracks. We all heard that. Yeah. Nobody can say that now, I don't feel like, or know, at least know what they're talking about, and that's something that's so important. You're right. It really is for everybody involved.
Well, the thing about it is what I see, and even with Joe there with his series, everybody, there's enough for everybody, for number one. And also, it makes you work a little harder. It makes you want to be better. And in return, it's better for the racers. It's better money for the racers, because everybody wants to have the biggest money. And then, not only after we come off of, as we was talking next weekend, we've got Friday night at Ponderosa. The next night, we've got the Young and Reckless Derby down here at Lake Cumberland Speedway. But then we come back the next Friday night as we have our Ray Cook series is coming to town. Really excited about that. That'll be on Friday night. So then we turn right back around as the next week we will have our Lucas Oil, sponsored by Tim Short Auto Group, May 5th at Ponderosa Speedway. May 28th, we'll be here. Big show again. We have races in between, of course, but the Johnny Wheeler Memorial, May 28th, that's a huge deal we've got going on. Then we've got the Summer Nationals coming up. First Sunday of July, first time Summer Nationals been on hand, and we've had a sponsor to bump that up, as it's now going to be 7,000 to win as they run is it 29 nights in 31 days.
Wow. Yeah.
So they $5,000 shows. It being a Sunday night that they set the purse. I did. We had a sponsor bumped it up to 7,000. They're going to be in the area down Clarksville and also Kentucky Lake on each side of us as they come into town. And they have some awesome drivers that runs that deal. So I've talked to a lot of people that says maybe they ain't going to do as much traveling this year. They're going to come to our bigger races, our regional big shows. I know Mike Marler, he said he's going to be close to home a lot this year. We're excited about that. And but what really excites me about the future of racing is to see what the crate late models and our other classes, they're growing. The hobby stock division, that's just one of the best divisions. I'll tell you what, of all divisions, hobby stocks, as far as watching, I make sure I make time to watch that event. And everybody says all about the late models, this, that, and other. Here's number one. You've got stands, okay? We know what the cost is for that division. And at the end of the day, we got to pay our bills and we got to have fans. So, but the pro late models have stepped up and fans are excited about it, guys. We've got some of the best racers in that division that we've ever had. I mean, Joe, what do you look to have this weekend? I know you've been throwing drivers out there right now.
Yeah, I've not even heard from any of your locals, and I've got like 30 traveling guys coming this weekend. So that's not even counting the huge field of locals that you normally have. So
that's
if all the locals, we could have 40 plus.
It wouldn't surprise me if y'all don't have 50, honestly.
Yeah. Really. I mean, with the weather working out, y'all got I-70 Friday night.
Yeah.
Just actually, just for people watching, we've actually, with the rain coming Friday, and just to be honest, I'm really behind, with the weather that's finally broke loose. It's like, wait, rush. You know what I mean? It's the way it is. It is for you too, Joe. And we've been working hard. We don't have enough help. I want to give a shout out to Howard. He's one of my best friends, and he does everything in his power to help me. It's me and him. It's a two-man crew. We make it happen. We do everything around here. We try not to hire anything done, unless it's just something that we don't feel like we can, or we've got a deadline that we can't reach. So I want to thank Howard for everything he does, because if it wasn't for our staff and the people behind the scenes, we couldn't make the opener work this weekend. So it's just really exciting, man. I can't wait to see the smiling faces this weekend.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that is, for sure. That's what it's all about. But you said, one of the most promising things about our sport is the growth of the not only crate late model division, pro late models, but all the other classes as well. But I agree. We've mentioned this a bunch of times here on the podcast, Wes. I mean, the growth of the crate late model, pro late model division, Joe, you've seen it firsthand with your series and everything else, but not only the growth of the class, but also the response from the fans. I think it's something that's also exciting and really good to see our fan base come around to, man, those are late models. I don't care.
Right.
Most people, if you didn't tell them they were something different, a lot of people wouldn't know. And the action on the track, the competition is in that division is the best it's ever been.
It is. It I mean, I feel like it's just as good as the super late models. And you're right. They wouldn't know if we didn't tell them. Because them guys, and there's a lot of super late model guys that's went to the crate deal. And I know some people look as maybe stepping down. I don't, because they're just as good of drivers in the pro late model. They are the super. The competition is just as hard, if not harder, because they are more level playing field. And it's the thing about all classes down here, down to the front wheel drives, open wheels, super stocks. That class is built up amazing. At the end of the year, it took off. I tried hard to make that division work here at Lake Cumberland Speedway. A lot of my good friends races that class, but it was at a position to where it was on the bottom side of where it had been. So it's starting to build back. People's getting back into that class. In all classes, we've got to where we can average, 17 to 20 cars, some classes 25. And that's just a good thing for weekly racing. And that's a good thing for our community here, because we want people to be able to come out on a Saturday night and enjoy themselves. And, to be able to do it weekly, because we do have a few nights off here at the start of the year to let everybody kind of get situated, the good weather get here in the spring. But when we get rolling, it's racing all summer long. So won't be many nights off, and everybody's just getting a groove of thing here at the start to kind of take them into it slow, because, it is a transition for everybody in the winter. You've got time to do things. And, but since January 1st, we've been wide open because, we had sponsors, to make happen. And then you got all your stuff. Want to get done a lot of work to the bleachers, done a lot of work to the track. Of course, painted the whole facility, everything here down to the gates coming in. We put paint on. So, somewhere around 200 gallon we put out so far. So it's going to be beautiful rolling in here. And, it's just really excited about 2023.
Yeah, that's a lot of paint.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That was a paintbrush. I'll just
yeah.
Actually, it's, it just, you think that there's nothing more that you can improve. And then there's, as far as you think you're kind of, well, maybe here's where Lake Cumberland Speedway is going to be. And then it seems like we raise the bar, things is just, since we reopened, it's every year, bigger car counts, more fans. Now we're at the point where, World Outlaws called me the other day, and we'd done talked about a show for this year, but I told them, just really for what I can see, I can't make it happen and come out. At the end of the day, we got to make all the numbers work. And I said, but you know what? We will make it work. And he reached back out to me the other day, Steve Francis did, and says, hey, I've got a date. We can bring it there. I said, man, don't make me say no. So that's what we've got planned for the next year is we to get one of them big national touring series. And sometimes, here's the deal. It's hard to make them deals work at, my small racetrack, Ponderosa as well. We can seat more there. We've got better parking there, but it's just awesome for the fans and all of us to see them cars roll in here, guys from all over the world, best driver in the world, to put on a show.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We can't get enough of it. That's for sure. So we look forward to that edition. Hopefully next year. I hope that'll work out. Yeah. Yeah. We like the sounds of that.
So if nothing else, I don't know. We'll get some chairs and I hold them to the wall or something. I don't know. No.
Yeah. Me and Wes can stand.
Yeah.
We volunteer.
Yeah. We'll stand.
We could do that. Just park the van all up down 27, shut them. But some of our got to that. So it's just amazing to see how it's grown and where we started to where we're at. For number one, I've got my head out of my butt and I've grew of a man, so that helps a little bit. But my staff, they just and these series. I mean, Joe, we appreciate everything you do, and we've got people like you guys that gets on here and really gets our sport out there. We appreciate everything you all do, and I'm gonna get my talking in that way. Joe can talk to you all. But thank you, guys.
Yeah, he's a patient man. He can wait.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I can tell that already. But no, it's good to have you all on here, and it's good to have your support as well. I mean, truly, it is. Like I've said before, we could do this if we didn't have the support of our racetracks, but it wouldn't be near as fun or as
Right.
beneficial, So it means a lot to us for sure.
Well, you're always welcome down here in Ponderosa, and anything we can do to help you all, we want to do as well. And but I'm gonna get off here. I think I've said my spiel. We're excited for the weekend. We hope everybody comes out. And Joe, appreciate you guys, and anybody that's watching. Bring your car, whether you're a racer. Bring your dog. Bring your friend. Bring your family, because Lake Cumberland Speedway kicks off this weekend. And then go visit lcspeedway.net for all of our upcoming shows and events and different stuff throughout the year, and ponderosaspeedway.net as well. And I'll let you all talk it up. So thank you, guys.
Sounds
All
good,
right.
man. Thank you for coming on here.
Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate you, and looking forward to awesome season at Lake Cumberland Speedway and Ponderosa Speedway, and we will see you plenty of times there this year at both of those tracks.
Schedule that we've had, at both racetracks, so that's a big deal. Our paying event for super late model racing is 7,500, and on a regular deal, we do a lot of bump ups, and we've got big front wheel drive races coming up. It's not about just one in particular class. We've got a big hobby stock race coming up, big super stock race, and then that big weekend in June, Joe. That's going to be an exciting deal. We've actually got American All Stars. We've got Chris's series valve lane late models. We've got the Bruce Built mods back to back. What's the date on that, Joe?
June 14th and 15th, I believe. I don't have my calendar right in front of me, but
June
14th. I think so.
That's our only event back to back. So that's going to be a deal where I feel like the racetracks being real close together. That'll be the bar for the season. We've got XR come on board. It's going to be pay-per-view. They've done a lot for us to make that happen, because without pay-per-view money and us doing that contract, be hard for me to step up and make them deals. And Joe's done a lot too. I mean, Joe helped out on that weekend too. So it takes a lot to have all them big races, and we're going to bump up our other classes to make all that happen. On the same night, it's really hard. So,
oh yeah,
because you can only charge so much, and you can only get so many fans in there. So to give everybody money the same night, it does make it difficult.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. I'll let you go. I got the lights on. I'm fixing to go out here and finish buffing the trailer. Been trying to sell some trailers, making a little extra money. So I got plenty to do. And
all right. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you this
Thank
weekend.
you, buddy. See you, man. All right, Joe Rush. Hey, man, we'll get to you now.
Listen, Brandon was talkative today, boy.
yeah,
He was. Yeah, he was on a roll. That's a good thing.
That's
though.
good. Yeah. We love Brandon to death, and what he does down there at Lake Cumberland and Ponderosa. So good to have him on today. But yeah, Joe, tell us about the weekend. I guess starting out 7,500 at I-75, and talk about it, and then 3,000 at Lake Cumberland on Saturday.
Yeah, I've already started my weekend. I actually made a trip to Winfield today. I was right through there. Marler posted a merch trailer for sale. So, Brandon talks about stepping up his game. That's something we're doing. We're going to have a merch trailer now. That's why I'm in my truck with you guys tonight. He posted that, and I had to come get it. So, so that's where we're at tonight. But as far as 75 goes, 7,500, we've never had an event that pays 7,500 to win to open our season. We raced at Bristol, but that was kind of a special deal and whatnot. This is the first real points race of the season. So, this whole weekend, it's you win both races, it's over 10 grand on the line. So for pro late model racing, that's really good money, spread over 2 days. But the I-75 deal, it's always a great track. It was really exciting last year. We're going to 2 tracks to start the season that we had 2 of our best races at all year last year on. So with this deal with going to 75, we're going to get a lot of cars from down south, and hopefully they'll come on up to to Kentucky as well
Yeah.
on Saturday, and a lot of them will. But then with Lake Cumberland on Saturday with 3,000 to win, Brandon has such a good field of locals that will just mix in so well with our touring guys that run full time. It could be anybody's race. Last year Zach Seiss won one of the two, and Hayden Cardwell won the other one when we were at Lake Cumberland. So, but Steve Peden came down from Indiana and raced with us last year. He was bad fast at Lake Cumberland. So, and then Josh Dietz, he's really picked up things and picked up the pace. So, it's hard to say, who could come out on top this weekend.
Yeah. Well, hopefully somebody this time, you just mentioned the first couple races there last year being somebody not from the state of Kentucky. So just personal here for us here on Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live. Hopefully we can keep it in the state this time, and somebody from the state of Kentucky can take this one home from Lake Cumberland.
We've got a lot of touring guys that are going to be, from Kentucky this year. Like I said, I mentioned Dietz. Logan Walls, who's right there in the backyard. He's a full-time competitor, made the dash at Bristol, which is really good for him because he struggled on big tracks last year. We joked about that a lot last season because he was so bad on big tracks, but he looked good at Bristol. So I expect him to be a contender. Those are a couple of the touring guys that are from Kentucky that definitely could win, not to even mention the locals like Watson and Irvin and those guys that are, that's home track.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of competition just right here and locally. Maybe not following the series, but we'll be at Lake Cumberland on Saturday as well. So that'll be a lot of fun for sure. I was curious, Joe, how did the American All-Star Series come about? I know it's been around for a few years now, but how did that come about for you?
Yeah, it started in 2018, 2019 was first season. This is the fifth season of the series. I actually had a partner when we started this thing, and it was his idea, his brainchild to start with, but it just wasn't his cup of tea, and I loved what I was doing. I was really enjoying it. He found me in West Virginia. I was race directing up there, and we were partners to start with, and just wasn't his cup of tea. Great guy, but just wasn't his thing. So I said, well, we'll just keep it going, and here's where we are now. So that all happened in the first year. It's been me and my wife pretty much since then. She does all the back office stuff. You never see her, but she takes care of a lot of the stuff behind the scenes. She's the most important there is when it comes to the series. But and then we started the weekly series, which you mentioned tracks working together, and that's something I'm really excited about personally for this season. Brandon got on board with our weekly rules. Which obviously put both his tracks on board. Willard's been on board since the Hicks opened the track, and then we just announced yesterday or Monday that Rockcastle
I saw that
part as well. So you mentioned tires earlier. That gets everybody on the same tire rule. They can interchange. Lake Cumberland's off, you'd ride to Rockcastle and race. Rockcastle's off, vice versa. So that helps all the local cars, and you get 3,000 a minimum. This is like the minimum guaranteed is 3,000 to win our weekly points fund. There's a weekly entry fee, and all that money goes. So like last year we paid 4,200 to the winner. It was supposed to pay 2,500, and we paid 4,200 to the winner. So, they get rewarded for just running at their weekly tracks. Basically, they sign up as a member. They get rewarded for running their weekly home track, but it also puts everybody on the same tire rules. So if one track rains out, you can go race somewhere else that night without having to worry about what tires that they're running.
Yeah. That's a step in the right direction for sure when it comes to the pro late models, getting everybody on board with those rules. And so, like you said, we did mention the cost of everything earlier, but yeah, I mean that's definitely a good thing for sure to get everybody on the same page. And just another example of tracks working together, or at least being cooperative. Doing the same thing. It's a lot easier to do the same thing than it is for everybody just to do run around in the opposite directions. So it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, it gives even AJ. AJ loves to go to Lake Cumberland. He's our two-time defending. Kentucky is well represented with the with the weekly series. He's our 2-time defending weekly series champion, and Raymond Nichols won the first season, who's another Kentuckian. So it's always stayed in Kentucky on our weekly series. But those guys now, if even somebody from Willard, Eastern Kentucky, they're off. It's easy for them to ride over to race at Lake Cumberland if they want to, or Rock Castle Deer 1.
Yeah, that is true. Well, Wes, let's go ahead and I was going to bring Logan on by himself, but you know what? Brandon jumped off, and Joe got a minute there. Let's just go ahead while we've got both of these guys on here. Let's go ahead and bring Logan Walls into the Racetrack Connection hotline as well, and we'll just have them on here together. So, Logan, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad I'm here. I can tell if Joe's fibbing or not.
Yeah. Got to keep him accountable, Logan.
Yeah.
He's giving AJ an awful lot of credit over here.
Oh no.
Yeah, he can still hear in the background. Yeah. So I forgot about that. I think he said something last year. You couldn't drive on big tracks or something like that too. So
yeah, just downing me over here.
Logan's got a great new company in Smash It too that's helping the series. So Logan traveled with me to all the trade shows this year and got to experience that, which was really cool to have one of our drivers with us.
Which was really boring.
It was really boring. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah.
Man, well, me and Joe kind of ran around like kids in a candy store looking at everything, and we just left everybody else at our booth.
Yeah, you just let them kind of check it out for themselves, go look at other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to a trade show, but I don't imagine it would be the most exciting thing after the first little bit, at least.
If you sit there all day for 2 days, it's not very exciting.
Yeah. I imagine that's the case. Well, let's talk about some good stuff. Logan, since Joe's talked about all the bad, since you've been in the background, so so you have won for the last 2 years. I guess you're the 2-time defending track champion at Rockcastle Speedway. I had to have Wes reach out to you earlier because I couldn't remember for sure. I knew you won it year before last, but and then also second last year with the American All-Star Series. So pretty cool deal. I know you haven't been in a crate or a pro, whatever we want to call those things, crate pro, whatever, but you haven't been in one for a terrible long time. So pretty good success, really. I mean, right out of the gate.
Yeah, last year was our second year in crate late models, and we was ready to get our season started, and we seen Joe was racing at I-75 for his first race, so we just ventured down there, and I'm sure Joe can tell you what happened there. It was another bad story.
He was the slowest car at the track on the first night of I-75.
Yeah, we really wasn't ready to get our season started car-wise, but in our minds, we was ready.
Yeah.
But
so was that you saying that was your first race, or?
That was my first race of the year. That was my second year in crates. We got a new car and everything, and it did not go well the first night. And the second night we went back out, we ended up qualifying into the dash with, I know there was over 40 cars there that night, so we was pretty excited about the second night. And then Joe liked me a whole lot more after that. So
yeah.
he invited me back after I was, in the dash. But the first night, I think he was iffy, thinking about telling me to go home.
Yeah. Stop slowing our program down. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, I was going to ask you about this as well, Joe. Since you got both of you on here, you did open up your season at Bristol. That had to be an interesting thing, a cool thing for the series, being there at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, for the series, it's kind of like our Super Bowl. Maybe a once in a lifetime opportunity, maybe something we don't ever get to do again. They mentioned it a few times on the broadcast last weekend that it may not be dirt next year. So it's likely what was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Having our guys on the Colossus and getting to be in the tower. I go to the tower. I started as a scorer, so towers, my place, and and getting to be in a tower at Bristol, you just kind of get butterflies when you do it, looking down on all your guys that are staged there and getting ready to race. So series wise, it's probably the coolest thing that we'll ever do. Like I said, and to do it in five years time, I'm very pleased with where the series has come and gone. Zane Powell, I just saw his comment over here. He's shooting for the big E for us. So maybe you guys can help us out with that.
Yeah, I'll jump right on that, Zane.
Well, Worldwide West, if there's anybody that can get it done, it is Worldwide West. There's no doubt. I don't know. I mean, he's doing a lot though. I don't know if he can find it in his schedule. He's going to sing the national anthem one night at Rockcastle Speedway and wave the green flag. I don't know what else you doing, Wes. I think you're supposed to be coordinating speed weeks.
Yeah. Kentucky
we're
speed weeks.
Yeah, I'm having to have some.
I'll call Tony Stewart. I'll get it in the works by about fall.
Yeah, I'm having to have some hero cards printed off too, so Wes can start signing autographs at the racetrack. And nobody knows who I am. I'm like Wes's buddy that does the podcast with him, so relegated to that role. But he can get it done if anybody can, for sure.
True.
Yeah,
that would be cool to see you guys at Eldora. For sure.
I would definitely show up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think we could probably hit 100 cars.
Even though I'm not very good on big tracks, I think I'll go.
I think it could pay $2,000 to win, and we'd hit 100 cars up there.
Yeah.
I think that's all it would take. So, but as far as Bristol goes, Logan's experience was really cool. I'm sure he can talk a little bit about his end and making the dash and what that meant to him too.
Yeah. He did say one good thing about you while you were in backstage, Logan. He talked about you making the dash at Bristol. That had to be a top moment of your career, just being there, but then having that success too.
It was when I first went out there for hot laps, and when I came back in, they asked me how it was, and I was like, to be honest with you, it was kind of boring because you just hold the throttle down wide open and you just turn a little bit. That was it.
Yeah.
And then,
really?
But once you get to racing against other people and they're side by side with you and you're going that fast, and then it kind of got a little nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But if you're just out there by yourself, it was just like you was on a joyride. It didn't feel like you was going that fast because it's just so big.
Yeah. Well, let me while we're on this Bristol topic, we'll get off of it here in just a second. Logan, you got to drive there, so you said it was kind of boring until you got beside some people. I was going to talk about this for our hot topic, but we started talking about tires. But what do you guys think about the Bristol dirt race, the NASCAR portion of it? Seems like that's something everybody wants to talk about. A lot of the NASCAR drivers seem to not like it, including Kyle Larson, who's a dirt guy. He seems like he can't stand it. What do you think about it? You think it's something that's good for our sport? Would you like to see it continue, or be done with it?
Well, when you think about it, you think about NASCARs on dirt. They're used to being on the asphalt. That would be like us late models going on asphalt. We're not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
So if you think about it from a racer's point of view, I mean, it's just not what you're normally doing. But as a fan of watching that, it depends on who you are. Some people like to see it. It's something different. It's exciting. And then some don't like it. They want to keep it as asphalt and leave people on dirt.
Yeah.
I think from a fan perspective, I watched the race. They were 4 wide, 3-4 wide at times. When do you see that in a NASCAR race on asphalt? So, there's not much more you could ask for as far as excitement because they were battling 3 and 4 wide, different groups. That was cool to watch. I feel like NASCAR has kind of sabotaged it a little bit by putting it on Easter weekend. I mean, you look at the crowd, and I think that plays they're definitely thinking about that. But if it weren't on Easter weekend, I think there would definitely be a better crowd. So, it feels like that's definitely hurt that event.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did sort of self-sabotage the being on Easter weekend, especially the crowd, which I don't know. NASCAR seems to pay more attention to to the viewership on live TV than anything else. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's good for the sport, as in, I think if I didn't know anything about dirt racing and I was able to be open-minded, because a lot of asphalt guys are like anti-dirt, just like a lot of dirt people are anti-asphalt. It's like there's both. But if I was able to be open-minded and I just saw the race, the NASCAR race, and like 3-4 wide racing is the best race they've had by far all year, I might want to go check out a dirt race. And I think that is something that could be good for our sport overall. So
yeah, there wasn't a lot of, for our event, there wasn't a lot of advertisement, which the event was mainly to make sure the track was in shape for we know what it was for, it was to make sure the track was in shape for the NASCAR race. But we did get a lot of messages on our page, and it was definitely good for the series page. The series has reached like 300,000 people in the past month, which is phenomenal on Facebook. But we got a lot of traffic there the day of that said, we didn't even know this event was going on. We live right here in Bristol. If we'd known it was going on, we'd have come out. So I think that there's definitely some concrete fans that would have been there and come to see it if they'd known it was happening.
Man, we reached like 22,000 over the last week or month or something like that. I'm not sure. I felt good about that until Joe just had to say they reached 300,000.
That's our record. So thanks to all our
down.
fans and people that support us.
Logan said he's good at putting people down.
I know, man. Way to make us feel small on here.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We thought we'd really done something, Joe.
I know, man. Yeah. Well. We can't all be American All-Star Series, Joe Rush.
No.
So, yeah. But hey, Logan, what about your upcoming year? You finished second last year with American All-Star Series. I don't think you can finish second 2 years in a row. You gonna bring it home this year? Take that championship? Who won last year?
Hayden Cardwell.
I think you got him, man. I really do.
I'm going to try for it, and if I'm not doing very good, at least I got the weekly to fall back on now since it's right around home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's true, too.
Go for the double.
What?
I said you'll chase the double this year because you got the weekly at home, too.
See, he talks me into these things.
Yeah, Logan can't even make his own choices.
He seems like he's pretty manipulative.
Oh, yeah, he is. He tells you the good things about everything.
Yeah.
But then
unless you're backstage.
He talks bad about me whenever he's on the podcast.
Yeah.
I tell him that to his face, too, though. So,
Yeah. I
can
tell when you said it. You say, yeah. As long as you say it to their face, I think that makes it all right.
Yeah.
I really do. I think honesty is a good thing. If he's slow, he's slow. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, just tell me.
Well, I'll tell you, somebody will tell me the way it is. My wife, like no questions about it. She will absolutely tell me how it is. It don't matter if it hurts, if it, so it's good to have somebody like that in your corner, Logan. Anyway.
Well, when it comes to my wife and my racing, it don't matter if I do terrible or good. She's going to say, "Oh, you done great," but in the back of her head, she's probably thinking that was terrible.
Yeah.
He works for the series
but
now.
She helps lift me up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've just stolen all of Logan's family to work for us. His wife is our part-time series photographer, and then his aunt is selling merch for us this year. So
see, that's him talking people into things.
Man, he is manipulative, lady. Yeah, you got no choice. Your whole family works for the series.
Eventually, I'm not gonna have anybody. It's just gonna be me.
Yeah. Hey, he's gonna say, "Logan, don't race this weekend. I need you in the tower scoring or something."
Yeah. I could use your help. So, but your plan is, Logan, to run. We know now your plan is to run the American All-Star Series, the tour, I guess that is. But then you also have plenty of chances to compete for the weekly weekly stuff as well. So being that Rockcastle and Lake Cumberland both are weekly tracks now with American All-Star Series, that's and then Willard, of course, too. But that has to help you being from here in Kentucky and having those opportunities as well.
Yeah, I was really glad to see that Lake Cumberland and Rockcastle became weekly tracks because that's where we mainly run at when we're not running around the country with Joe. But it makes it easier because instead of using a certain tire to travel with the series and then having a certain tire we can use back at home, we don't have to change. We can just run the same tires all year round at pretty much everywhere we go.
Yeah.
So it's really good for it. It was really smart for Brandon and Rockcastle to do that since, Brandon was going to do it because he was already having tour races there. So he jumped on board, and then Rockcastle seen that, hey, if we're going to do it to help racers, then we're going to have to jump on that too, because if we don't, then we're going to have a different tire roll than Brandon. So the people that run with Brandon are usually going to stay there instead of going to buying special tires just to go to Rockcastle.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
So it helps us out. It gives us, three places for sure that, we don't have to go and buy different tires for just to run at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing for you all as racers. For sure, to have those.
It gives us
those
something
options.
to compete for too, like the weekly points money. Like it gives you something to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. You all spending the big money, so you need all the opportunities you can get too. You don't know if you heard earlier, but I was complaining about having to spend $115 on a tire. That was just a few years ago. They're a lot more than that now. So every little bit helps. That's for sure. When it comes to opportunities for you all to make some money, so
make some and save some.
Yeah.
That's
Joe,
right.
if you don't care, kind of go over your schedule for the tour this year.
Yeah, we start out this weekend. I'll hit the highlights because we've got 27 races. But we start out this weekend. Obviously, we've talked about that, and then next week we go Tri-County in North Georgia, Ray Cook's track, great facility. North Georgia's little bull ring. Then we do our Star Wars weekend. I love Star Wars. I know it's my silent, but we do that around May 4th, and we call Wartburg All Star Wars. So we have a lot of fun with that weekend, and Volunteers going to be that weekend too, and they're going to do the Dark Side 40. So hopefully we can get some maybe attract some new people with stuff like that. But then we've got our biggest race ever at Beckley Motor Speedway, May 18th through the 20th. It's $20,000 to win. So who knows who may show up for that? It's a UBB Miners Memorial Race, so it's a good cause too. Glad to be a part of something like that. June gets pretty. Then we do Memorial Day weekend. We're at Withful and Smoky Mountain. June. We've got Ponderosa and Lake Cumberland in the middle of July that Brandon talked about earlier. Excited for that weekend. And then our next big race then would be middle of July. We're at Paragon, or I guess the people from in that area say Paragon. Talk a little different than us up north. That'll be our first Midwest race. But we're excited for that one. That one is also $20,000 to win. So we've got 220s this year. In the middle of August, we have $15,000 to win at Cherokee. So that'll be our first trip ever to the place your mama warned you about. So excited for that one. We go to Alabama this year as well, to Buckshot Speedway a couple times. We've got a big race at Natural Bridge Speedway. A $10,000 win in Labor Day weekend at Beckley again. So two big races at Beckley this year. Back at Lake Cumberland for our Kentucky fans in September, on September 23rd. That's a $5,000 win event. And then our championships at Volunteer Speedway on October 7th. That's $10,000 to win. And then the weekly championship, we do something special for the weekly guys. Invite them out, give them some provisionals. Everybody's welcome, but it's an event for the weekly guys. And that'll be at Willard, right in the middle of all our weekly tracks. So it'll pay at least $3,000 to win. They're working on getting it to $5,000. So that'll be at the end of October. Excited about that event as well. And with the weekly guys that we hopefully pick up from the Rock and Lake Cumberland and Pond, that could be a really good event.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's the biggest season for American All-Star Series to date for sure. Man, that's a loaded schedule. So we're looking forward to it. I know Logan's looking forward to it. He's going to bring home the championship this year. We're calling it right here on the podcast. So it's going to happen at the end of the year. Kentucky driver. Before we let you all go, let's talk about this weekend, Logan, Lake Cumberland Speedway. Joe already said first 2 races last year, including one at Lake Cumberland, I think it was, out-of-state drivers won. We cannot let that happen again this year. We want you. We need you to keep it home. I don't like these out-of-state guys coming in here and stealing our money. Yeah. So what's it going to take this weekend to get the job done, pick up the big win at Lake Cumberland?
Well, we went down to Lake Cumberland a couple weeks ago and practiced, and Brandon's done some changes to the track, and we actually like it. It actually is a whole lot better, I think. It's got more banking to it, and it seemed like it wasn't as slick as what it was last year, so it had more bite to it, and we liked that a whole lot better. And we got a chance to try some new setups there and see what would work, what won't, and we got a few things figured out that we think can be really fast there and be up front.
Yeah.
Good
well,
deal.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see you in Victory Lane Saturday night.
That would be great.
And hope you run good on Friday night too at I-75.
Anytime I take some of Joe's money, it's great.
Hey, he's already paying your whole family, so just take a little bit
whether
more
I got to hire him workers or not, we're going to get some of it.
That sounds good. Well, guys, thank you for taking time out of your evening, your week. Joe, I know you said you in Winfield, Tennessee, had to go snatch a merchandise trailer before it got gone. But thank you for taking time, both of you, out of your week to come on here and waste your time with us a little bit and talk to us for a while.
I enjoyed
appreciate it.
Guys, if Logan wins the championship, maybe we'll be back here in October discussing his season.
Yeah, that sounds good.
If I win the championship, I want a steak dinner. I know one of you got one last year for some competition, so
I don't know, man.
If I win the championship, we're gonna have to talk one of those over.
You know what? I had to buy the steak dinner last time because Wes picked the winners. We're going to pick the winners tonight, and we're going to do it again this year. But if you win the championship, Wes buys you a steak dinner. I already bought one. It's time for him to buy somebody a steak dinner.
Logan, if you win the championship, now this is overall American All-Star Championship for the tour. If you win the championship, I'll buy you a steak dinner. Write it down.
All right, there you go, here, folks. All right, we'll see you in October. So sounds good. We'll be back on here, guys. Thank you again. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right, well, that was a fun conversation, man. That's Logan's a fun guy, and of course Joe as well. Just good conversation for sure, and yes. We appreciate them coming on. And Brandon Hardgrove a little bit earlier as well. He had to go work, so he left a little early, but he was on here as well. So good. We really appreciate them for sure.
Yeah, really good talking with them, and look forward to an awesome weekend.
Yeah, we need to talk about one other thing while we've got some people still on here, real quick too, Wes. Lake Cumberland, of course, having their big event this weekend, but also Mudlick Valley Raceway, another one of our tracks opening up this weekend, their first event, of course, for the Gent family. That's going to be their very first event as track owners and promoters. And, man, I've just been watching again this week, seeing the work that they're doing over there to that facility. I mean, you talk about some people who are invested into the sport, into that racetrack, and they have really just done an unbelievable amount of work to that place over there. And I think I'm going to be there. I already committed to that. I told them that I wanted to come, had some free time, so I'm planning on going over there. So can't wait. I'm excited about it, and I'm just looking forward to and really hope that things turn out really well for them this weekend.
Yeah, me too. I've also saw on Facebook this week all of the preparation and work to get everything ready for opening night, and they have busted their butts to get everything perfect. And I just really, really hope that they'll have an awesome opening night. I hate that I can't be there. I've got some family coming in this weekend, but excited that you're going to be able to go and enjoy that. And I know you'll keep me posted and send me updates and pictures, and just really, really hoping for an awesome opening night for those guys at Mudlick Valley.
Yeah, I hope to. And then our plans, I believe, Wes. I don't know. We haven't talked this week, so I don't know where we're at. but I think it's the first time I've talked to you this week was we jumped on here tonight. But text a little bit. But as far as talking, I think we're planning on doing our first live show from Ponderosa on the 21st. If that's not the case, I'll let you know. But I think that's our plan. Am I right about that? I don't know. It's been so long since I've talked to you.
Yeah, that's the plan. Fingers and toes crossed, and we've got our equipment in. If we can figure out how to get it to work and operate, so that's the plan. Because that's going to be a huge night on the 21st of April, opening night at Ponderosa, and all classes, big money, and then Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series 7,500 to win. Should be a dandy, and what better way to open up and have our first live show from the track than to do it that night. So, yeah, that's the plan. Like I said, hopefully everything will work out, but we'd love to do that.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun for sure. It might also be like our whole phone situation. Of course, I barely got my internet connection to work, much less try to take some phone calls tonight. I'll get that all fixed by next week, but might be like the phones. Last week, nobody called. No, we may not have anyone show up. We'll sit there live and talk to ourselves. If not, it'll be okay. But hopefully we can have some people come up to that. We'll do it just a little bit, maybe an hour or so before race time, and let some people get in there and have some drivers come up and do some interviews and things like that. So I definitely think it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that. Well, let's talk about. We've already mentioned both of these, but our racing outlook for October, or not October. We was talking about October earlier. April 14th and 15th, Lake Cumberland Speedway, American All-Star Series, 3,000 to win. Late models, open wheel modified, super stocks, hobby stocks, and front wheel drive. So, and then at Mudlick Valley is their opening night. A lot of changes over there. So go check them out if you're over there in that area on Saturday, April 15th as well. They're running super late models, open wheel modified, sport mods, KDRA super stocks, and 4 cylinders. And then Ponderosa Speedway is planning a practice session for Friday night, October 14th from 6 to 10. So a few options there for you this coming weekend. Do want to thank all of our sponsors, as we always do. Wes, we really, man, we appreciate all these folks for coming on board with us and helping us out to be able to do some of these things like live shows and all that good stuff. So we're very appreciative.
Yeah.
So Smokehouse Grill and Buffet, they're our presenting sponsor for our podcast. Racetrack Connection, download that Racetrack Connection app. Bluegrass Restoration and Construction, the Detail Shop, Extreme Style Signs and Graphics, Fast Track Racing Series, Ultimate Heart of America Super Late Model Series. That's another one. They're going to be at Paragon Speedway for 10,000 to win this weekend as well. So almost forgot to mention that. So they'll
and then
be
also at Florence, you got the Spring 50 on Saturday.
Yeah. So big one,
forget that
big one up there as well. Dirtman Diecast, CT Promotions, Mudlick Valley Raceway, Richmond Raceway, the Rockcastle Speedway, Thunder Mountain Speedway, Lake Cumberland Speedway, Ponderosa Speedway, Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series, and the Bruce Built Performance Modified Series. Did I get them all?
You got them all.
I think I did, buddy. Well, it's been a fun show. Can't wait to do it again next week.
Yes, it has. Really looking forward to it, and I just really enjoy getting on here. And again, thanks to Brandon Hardgrove, Sherman Kalen, Logan Walls, and Joe Rush. Another great show. Just thank you guys for coming on and being with us tonight. So
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Thank you for watching, listening on here with us.
yes,
As I've said before, you can always listen to the replay on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of those. So check it out. If you didn't get to watch the whole thing, it'll be on there. Should be up by tomorrow. So be sure and check that out as well. This has been Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. We will see you at the races.